Hi everyone, welcome once again to A.O.S Global, A.O.S Abroad, for those who have known us for some time right now. And today we have an interesting topic, I must say, and a topic centered on planning, especially for those immigrants who want to actually reside in Canada, who wants to come to Canada and set up a life in Canada from this year up until next year and even to the next 2 years. Because today we want to center our discussion on what to expect. What can you expect from the immigration levels plan 2026 to 2028 for those immigrants who are still working towards their immigration to Canada? Now, this is a very crucial topic because everyone knows that Canada is a top destination for immigration. However, just like every other country, there are bound to be changes, there are bound to be modifications to its policies, and there are bound to be some adjustments to how immigration to Canada actually works, right? So, that being said, if you are still wanting to come into Canada, you have to really know what you need to know so that you position yourself in a way that you are much more, you understand, eligible to apply. You are much more having a higher chance of getting selected or getting approved of your visa, and you are going to benefit from the policies or the changes that comes to the immigration, you understand, to the immigration policies in Canada. Now, that being said, every year, the IRCC, the Immigration, Refugees, and Citizenship Canada, they actually set some immigration levels plan that they are going to follow for each year up until the next and the next year. So for 2 to 3 years, they have a plan that they follow. However, the plan can change because, of course, it is a plan. A plan may be followed through, or a plan can actually be what? It can actually be modified. So every year, Canada actually has its own plans that it focuses on for that particular year. And once we are coming to the tail end of the year, this is 2025, of course, and we are already in the last, like when they are telling you the ember months, you know that the year is already getting to an end, right? We have done the first ember months. You understand? We have finished, we have like rounded off with that September. We're in October, which is fast ending, right? Now, around this time, would say November, early November days, the Minister of Immigration, Refugees and Citizenship Canada, IRCC, they he actually has a mandate to um, give us some plannings, you know, some plannings towards the next year. So if you want to actually know what Canada immigration has in stock for you for the next year, if for instance you are in Canada yourself as a student, you are in Canada as a visitor, you are in Canada as a temporary foreign worker, you are in Canada as a permanent resident. In fact, you have to know, you have to keep abreast of what is at stake or what is available for you for the next year in Canada. It's very important because that would actually help you understand and work towards you becoming, you understand, very much legal in the country, especially for those that are not yet permanent residents or citizens themselves. So that being said, let's look at today our discussion. What can we expect from the immigration levels plan 2026 down to 2028? Just like I said initially, I said every year Canada has its own plans. You understand that it aims to actually achieve. Do you understand? You as an immigrant may have your own plans, no problem with that. You should also expect that a country like Canada, as developed as it is, would also have its home plans towards what? Towards immigration. Because if you don't plan, then you plan to fail. Do you understand? If you lack a plan, then you are going to actually fail. So Canada is a country that doesn't want to fail. It doesn't want to actually have some issues, in relation to immigration. So as a result of that, it sets different plans for the years to come, not even only the first year, for 2 3 years down the line, so that it actually becomes, or it actually makes good use of those that are coming into the country, which are immigrants themselves, and use this avenue to actually improve on its various on its various policies. So today I'm going to be making use of the cicnews.com website, which is the website that I do talk about very well for those of you who join our live sessions. You understand this website is a website that anything related to immigration. If you are coming into Canada and you want to learn about immigration, this is a very good website to actually get some of your you understand some of your news from, right? There's a couple of them out there, but this is a website that I have been even following before I landed in Canada, and I can see for a fact that this particular website is a website that a lot of you too should actually look, you understand, look into, right? Now let's move on. As I was saying, I said the discussion today is centered on immigration to Canada. Is centered particularly on the plans. What can we expect from the government in the next, say, 2 years to 3 years in Canada? Right? Starting from now, not even next 2 years, starting from now till 2 to 3 years time. Now, based on what is Uzoigwe Ifanye says, good evening, sir. Yes, good evening, sir, as well. How you doing? How's your evening? Now, based on the website, the cicnews.com website, those that actually wrote this article, what we can expect from immigration, Canada Immigration Levels Plan 2026 to 2028, Janice Rodriguez and Derek Shank are the ones that wrote this article. They published this article on October 21st, 2025, and they stated that the Canadian federal government is set to announce how many permanent residents and temporary residents Canada will aim to admit over the course of 2026. Now, this is very important because, when we are talking about things like this, we always want you to understand something. Canada has some plans, they have some strategies, they have some things that they are looking towards. Do you understand? So, you too, instead of you getting vexed or you understand, not understanding the process, what you just need to do as an immigrant who wants to really come into Canada and benefit from the immigration policies is to look at the policy, or look at what Canada would aim at, what Canada is actually pursuing, because everybody, we are all needy one way or the other. You as an immigrant, you may need to come into Canada to work, to earn money. Canada on its own actually needs immigrants in order to work in their own organizations and actually contribute to the tax system. Do you understand? So they will take people that they feel that are the best fit to actually improve their economy. They will take people that are going to be the best fit, that would pay taxes. They would pay people that in their own interest will not be a menace to their society, will not be, you understand, someone that is going to burden the, what they call it, the social fabric of the society. So, in other words, someone that is not going to be a criminal, that will not commit crimes, or someone that does not have, that has less probability of becoming ill. You understand, especially being ill in this. Everybody would get sick at one point of time or the other, but someone that is not critically ill, that will now be a burden to the medical facilities of the country. So that being said, everybody has something to benefit when it comes to immigration. Everybody has something to benefit when it comes to what? Planning. So you as an immigrant, as Canada is planning to actually bring in people from abroad, do you understand? You as an immigrant should be strategizing that, what do I have to give? What do I have to put on the table, as they will say? You understand? For Canada to be able to see me as someone that is actually what? Someone that is actually ready to immigrate, right? Now, that being said, let's look at what they stated. They said on or before November 1st, 2025, and that is few days now because we're in the 29th of October 2025. You understand? They said on or before. So what they are trying to tell us is that, in fact, maybe I should even check it. We may have been expecting, we may have had the immigration levels plan announced safe before first of what? Before 1st of November 2025. Do you understand? Gracefully, now we are still seeing the planning of 2025 to 2027 immigration levels plan. So the government has not yet announced what? It has not yet announced the 2026 to 2028 levels plan, immigration levels plan. But what can we expect is what we are discussing today. What can we expect from Canada to actually focus on? Now, they said on or before November 1st, 2025, Immigration, Refugees and Citizenship Canada, IRCC, will publish the 2026 to 2028 immigration levels plan. They will publish it on or before November 1st. And if we look at November 1st is going to be on a Saturday. Do you understand? This week. On a Saturday this week. So we know something for sure that within this week, or okay, let's say latest next week, we are going to learn about the 2026 to 2028 levels plan. And he said each year, just like I've said before, levels plan presents admissions targets for the coming year along with notional targets for the following 2 years. Now, what do they mean by this? Because I really like to explain some nuggets of wisdom when it comes to reading some articles. Do you understand? Based on what they stated on this, what do you call it now? On this article, they stated that Canada would be focused, or they would plan on the amount of people, amount of immigrants they want to actually bring in for the next year, today or now or this week. The plan that they are going to tender is going to show us, is going to inform us of, oh, how many amount of people do they want to really bring into the country. And seriously, there's really nothing you can do as an immigrant to change how many people come into the country. There's really nothing you can do. Do you understand? And that's why I do tell people, focus on the, you don't focus on vanity metrics. You understand? For those that are into public, what do you call it now? Digital marketing, you know what I'm talking very well. Don't focus on vanity metrics. Vanity metrics may be what you cannot change or what cannot bring benefits to you. Rather, focus on things that would that will benefit you. What are the things that will benefit you? We are still going to talk about it. They said each year these levels plan are published for the next year and for the next 2 years after the next year, right? They said previous communications from the government have given us some indications of what we can expect from the upcoming plan. Now, this is where we are really getting into. This is where I feel more or less you need to actually take cognizance of and be very, very sure that yes, you are positioning yourself as someone that will benefit from the planning of Canada. Do you understand? So you're not just like any other person that will just be hearing and will not actually take heed. That will just be hearing and will not make sure you benefit from it. Right? Now, I said the stabilization of permanent resident levels. That's the first thing that from the previous things Canada has been saying, they are going to aim to stabilize the permanent resident levels. What does that mean? Let's really explain it to ourselves. They said on the article, if the federal government of Canada keeps its election promise, we can expect that permanent residents admissions target for 2026 will not exceed, look at that, will not exceed 416,500. Again, this is vanity metric. For many of you, you are just one person. You understand? You don't know about any other person. You don't need to bother about the numbers. 416,500. Let's just accept that. Whether they reduce it or they increase it, for me, for other immigrants, it shouldn't be the bone of contention. The bone of contention, I feel, which I'll still talk about later on, is who are the people that will get selected. Do you understand? That's the bone of contention. Who are the people that will get selected? So if you are not part of the people, how can you quickly be part of the people? You understand? That is the metric I feel that we need to focus on here. But let's keep on talking about the article. They said we can establish this expected upward bound because leading up to the most recent election in Canada, the Liberals pledged to stabilize permanent resident admissions at less than 1% of Canada's population annually. And Canada's population stands at an estimated 41.65 million as of July 1st, 2025. Now look at that for economics around us, for economics that are in the house. 1% of the total population of people currently living in Canada like me are those who they want to bring into the country, right? And they stated that just less than 1%. They didn't even say 1%. They say less than 1%. So when they say less than 1%, that means the projection is that it shouldn't be more than 416,500, which for me is still a large number of people that are coming into the country from all walks of life, coming into the country from all the countries you can ever think of. In fact, there was one time I saw one statistics that basically Canada is actually housing. Canada is, you understand, is bringing in immigrants from almost all the countries in the world. Do you understand? Almost all the countries in the world. So it's huge. At least over 200 countries are coming into the country. Over though the numbers differ. Do you understand? How many people are coming differ? And that's why I said, don't let's focus on the numbers. Let's focus on what the quality of people that they are looking for. I don't want to focus on the quantity because the quantity I cannot really change it. I don't really have anything, you understand, to do to benefit or to benefit from the number. But for those set of people that are coming into the country, those type of people that are coming into the country, that's what I want you as well as an immigrant to focus on. Because at the end of the day, that's what will benefit you. Because once you know who they are looking for, all you just need to do now is to position yourself as that kind of person so that you can get selected quickly, move into the country, and stand a better chance of actually setting up your life and benefiting your family with your own immigration pathway, right? Now, they said the targets from the plan published last year, which was 2024, also fall beneath this upper bound, as the government had cut permanent residence admissions targets for 2025 by 20% relative to the plan published in 2023. Now, what does that mean? They said the target for overall permanent resident admissions under the previous two immigration levels plans are as follows. Now, this is very important because when we are planning, we should see what we did in the past and justify the efficacy of the policies or the planning based on what worked in the past, right? Now, if you look at the year 2025, the planning of 2025 to 2027 that was published in 2024 stated that 395,000 people will be admitted. But a year before, which was within 2024 to 2026, that was published in 2023, 500,000 people were stated to come into the country. So if you look at that, there was a reduction from 500,000 people in 2023 to 395,000 people in 2024, right? Uzoigwe Ifani is saying good content. Thank you very much. Really appreciate that. Thank you very much for liking the comments, for actually commenting. Now, please look at something. 2023 was when I landed in Canada, and I did a massive publicity of these 500,000 people that they stated they wanted to come into the country. So I showed on my own social media platforms that Canada needed immigrants. And that's just the fact. As at then, they needed immigrants. As at now, they are still in need of immigrants. As at tomorrow, of course, they will need immigrants. Okay, Ozoego is asking, I want to ask a question. Please ask your question. If you have any question, ask. We are here to answer questions as well. Do you understand? If you have any questions, put it down in the comment section, and if I know the response, I'll respond to you. Now, in the year 2026, look at what happened. We the plan that was published 2025 to 2027 plan, they said 380,000 people would be, you understand, admitted in 2024. But this year, when they planned it in the year 2023, 500,000 was the amount of people that they said would come into the country. Now, what we are trying to say in essence is that every year the government always gives planning. They always give plan that, okay, these are the amount of people that will bring. At a point, it's going to reduce. At a point, it's going to increase. You see, at the end of the day, it is not about the number. It is about the quality. Do you understand? That's what they are trying to tell us here. Sometimes the numbers are reducing, sometimes they are increasing. But focus on what? Focus on what will benefit you, which are the type of immigrants they are actually looking for. Okay, Ifeanyi is asking, Newfoundland and Labrador is needing immigrants. I'm interested in working as a caregiver. Okay, that's a comment. And now it's saying, do you know how I could go about it? Okay, now there are three ways to go about it, right? Three ways for you to come into Canada and possibly work in Canada if you want to work, as you said, as a caregiver. The number one way that many people know and many people use to come into the country to benefit from this is to first come and study in Canada, to come in as an international student. Do you understand? To actually study, and sometimes when you're opportune, you are going to be studying and you'll be working simultaneously. If you are not opportune to work while you're studying, when you are done with your studies, maybe like a year program or 2 year program, you are now going to actually get what we know as postgraduate work permit. And that postgraduate work permit will not allow you to work after you have completed your program in your school. And most times, just like you said, you want to go to Newfoundland and Labrador, many people would make sure that the school they are going to is in that particular province, so that once they are done, they can easily switch from being a student to becoming a temporary foreign worker. In other words, a worker that has been issued, or that has, you understand, had the opportunity to get work permit to work in the country for maybe 1 year up to at least 3 years. So that's one way you can come into the country. How to go about it. The second way you could go about it is to actually get a job offer from the country that you are presently residing in. Now, note the first way was you to get an admission in a school in Newfoundland and Labrador and to come and study in that province. The second way is for you to get a job offer. Now, there are a lot of people that have been posting job offers online, and I do tell people job offers is not base. It's not nice and base. It's not easy to get. It's possible to get. Do you understand? It's very possible. But I do tell people job offers, when I wanted to come into the country as well, as a normal immigrant, me too, I was applying for jobs. Me too. In fact, if you see, there was one webinar I did one time, and I showed people the hundreds of applications I applied to. Do you understand? Like, I was obsessed with applying to jobs. Many of them reached out to me. Many of the employers would tell me, oh, yes, your credentials are okay. Yes, we could have employed you, but because you are not in Canada, would prefer you to come into Canada first. And when you come into Canada, we are going to employ you then. Some will say, oh, because you are not even in Canada, you don't qualify. Do you understand? Some will say, okay, they are not giving any promises, but I should try to work on my immigration first. And when I work on my immigration, they can later give me a job offer. If you understand, they have a vacancy then. In fact, I also got across to some so-called, and remember, so-called recruiters that will tell me that, oh, you want to look for a job? Where are you? In Nigeria. Okay. Can you pay so amount of money to get a job? Now, because again, you have to understand something. In Canada, there are rules. When it comes to IRCC, there are regulations people must follow. Do you understand? And even though sometimes we're not informed about some of those rules initially, just like the average immigrants, we didn't know about some of these things. But when I was in Nigeria, I didn't even have the money to pay. Do you understand? I didn't have the monies these people were calling. And because of that, that was why, of course, I applied to hundreds of jobs. You understand? Because if you don't have money, at least you have time. That's it. If you don't have money, you have time to do what you are meant to do. I mean, that was the time into I had. That okay, whether we like it or not, post-COVID era, COVID have come, it have shown us shege. I want to japa, I do not have money. What do I have? I have time, I have data. Do you understand? And that's what I always tell people. If you have data, you have time. Go online, apply for jobs. I applied for jobs on Canadian Job Bank. You can browse it online. That's one way you can actually get jobs in Canada. I applied to through website like Indeed. Do you understand? I applied through website like LinkedIn. If you have a LinkedIn profile, it's even easier. Instant apply, you can apply. Do you understand? I applied to jobs, several jobs, hundreds of jobs. In fact, I would bust your brain. I didn't only apply in Canada. Thank you very much, Adi Nuga. I didn't only apply in Canada. I applied in South Korea, in China, in United Arab Emirates, in Saudi. I applied go. You know those jobs that they will say, okay, go and do English teacher because of course I studied linguistics in University of Ilorin, Kwara State, Nigeria. So I applied to many of those jobs. Do you understand? But at the end of the day, I didn't get any job. Best I could get was, oh, you have a good prospect when you come into work on your immigration first. Because you have to understand too, recruiters and employers will spend thousands of dollars to employ one person from abroad. They will first spend money to the what they call it, government of Canada to say, okay, they didn't see anybody in Canada that is a citizen or permanent resident like us to actually give that job. So they have to go and employ from outside Canada. They have to show through the application because just as you are sending your application for visa, them too, they have to send the application for worker. They pay for that one separately. They also pay recruitment fees. The money that the recruiter should collect from you, you understand? Which is, of course, we have known right now that it is illegal. It is illegal for any recruiter to collect money from a skilled worker. So the money because the recruiters are being paid, they are being paid by the companies that have those jobs. So there's no need for them to collect money from you. Do you understand? So the company will pay for that recruiter. And if, for instance, they say the average amount of time, I've forgotten the statistics now, but it is like 2 to 3 months or so before they can get one qualified employee. So they have to pay that recruiter fee. Because some people don't understand when they say jobs, Canadian companies are not willing to employ. They don't understand why they don't want to employ them. You have to understand if you are an employer, if you are an employer, you are a company owner too. Think like a company owner that this person will pay to the government. It would also pay to the recruiter, the skilled worker that would serve as the what they call it now, the human resource that would employ you. They will pay for that one separately. And most times, some people will say, okay, they are looking for job sponsorship, job sponsorship. Again, that company has to pay for what? Has to pay for sponsorship. If, for instance, they want to help you for your travels, they want to help you for your tickets, or they want to help you for your accommodation, or they want to help you for your what do they call it now? For your housing, things like that. They would have to actually cater for all those things. So it is not, see, for one employee, they may spend $10,000 for one, may spend, it may be more than that, it may be less than that. So people that are looking for visa sponsorship, you have to understand that if you want to come into Canada and work, we're not saying those jobs are not available, they are available. Do you understand? But if you want to come and understand that those expenses, the person that want to recruit you have to pay it. Do you understand? Legally, of course. And that's why they say some people are collecting money. It is illegal. It is illegal to collect money from a skilled worker to actually help him get jobs. But that's why some people will pay tens of thousands to actually get those jobs. There was even one article I was reading, I mean, one news broadcast I was watching. Some people paying as much as $30,000, 40,000. If you look at that in Nigerian naira, that's like 35 million, 45 million, 50 million naira for a job. Me, I don't even like talking about that. But you ask the question, how can you go about it? How to go about it is to get a job offer from a Newfoundland and Labrador employer right from abroad, right from your country, Nigeria. It's possible to get it. We have seen success stories of people online that have gotten a job without paying a dime. Do you understand? Without paying a dime. I was not successful with it. And I always tell people I failed in it. I did not get job for myself. So if I cannot get job for myself, it may be difficult for me to get job for you. I mean, see, let's be frank with ourselves. You understand? Let's be frank with ourselves. It may be difficult for me to get job for you. So people say, actually, you have a business in Canada and in Ontario, help me get job or give me job. I say, you don't know to get a job, to give a foreign worker a job. I need to have at least 75% of my staff legally. We're talking about things that are legal. We're not talking about illegal things. 75% at least of my staff have to be Canadians or permanent residents. Me that I'm still doing my job self-employed, how will I see money to now pay 3 Canadians or 3 permanent residents to be able to give 1 foreign worker job? It's not possible. Because are you the one that will be paying your own salary? You understand? Or are you the one that will pay your own wages? It's not possible. Do you understand? So, okay. Ozo Igwe Ifeanyi is still asking, so can I come without a job invitation and begin to find there? See, your questions are brilliant. Brilliant questions. Can you find job? Can you come without a job invitation and begin to find job there? Absolutely. Absolutely. You can come into, see, these questions you were asking were the same questions I was asking that time. You understand? It was the same questions I was asking that time. The first question I asked, okay, people are saying, actually, you graduated as university scholar from University of Ilorin, Kwara State, Nigeria. You were the faculty of, the departmental best student. You know book now, go through study. That is one way you can come without a job invitation. Get an admission in school and get to come and study in Canada. Do you understand? But me, that time, when I look at admission, the cheapest school, I don't get the money. The cheapest school. I'm telling you my own life experience, my own life history now. So that you see my own reasoning then. I don't know your own reasoning, but my own reasoning was what I'm saying now. Do you understand? The cheapest school, that was, is it Memorial University in what they call that province. I did not have the money. The cheapest course, the money no deal. You understand? The ones that I even had in my business, I would say, say I'm not gonna even gonna drop this money now, and at the end of the day, I'll now come to one country and I'll now be looking. You understand? Should in case I'm not studying now, before 1 year, money finish and come. For me, I saw that the admission route, do you understand, was something that was not plausible for me. If I wanted to be realistic and not just want to be thinking that when I get there, I'll figure it out. When I get there, I'll figure it out. I wanted to be realistic with myself. Study was not my way out. It could be for you. You could get admission without a job invitation. And once you get admission, you work on your study permit. And there are many study permits right now that come with a permission or authorization for you to work. So you may not even need to finish school. You may be working whilst you are studying. That's what they always call work and study. You know, work and study. You'll be working while you're studying. If I is saying another thing, he say, I don't get money for school. Thank you, sir. You were like me. Or you are like me. I was like you. I was telling him, I don't get the money for school. I couldn't afford the tuition fees. The little money where they gather that time. May I now go put that for school? May I now they look? In fact, many of the courses, they were say, okay, first pay part payment. When you come into the country, you now pay full payment. I say part payment, God said, baby, say I struggle. I struggle collect part payment, I struggle get part payment. Now dey talk say I go pay one balance, I no get the money. I didn't have the money. I had to be frank with myself. I now had to look for another option. That which other option is available for me to come into the country and be able to now work after I come into the country. I looked at visitor visa. Visitor visa allowed people legally, that time when me I was working on my processing, legally to visit the country alone, to either visit family or friends, or to come and tour the country for tourism alone. E didn't allow people to actually do work. People were even opportune in the year 2023 abi 2024. They say okay, yes, so you can come in as a visitor, and when you come in as a visitor, you can now switch to work permit once you get a job. You understand? People were lucky that time. A lot of people benefited from that. In my own time, when I was coming, I didn't have that option. When I was processing my own immigration, I didn't have that option because it is visit after visit 6 months, you move. If you want to do things legally, you want to do things legally, you have to understand because that time too that I still came, some people were still saying okay, they were doing visitor visa, they will become illegal immigrants and they will be working, you understand, abele working. They will be doing illegal work. And I've been saying this several times. Illegal work will not benefit you, it will benefit the employer more than you. You will be enslaved by the employer because your worth of money, what you are meant to be, imagine maybe you're supposed to collect $22 per hour. The employer says no, it's $10 per hour that you give. You don't have opportunity because you're an illegal immigrant. You don't have rights. You understand? Full right that you're meant to have as a temporary foreign worker. That's why it's good to do things legally. Okay, if I is asking, is this option still open? Is it still on? Sadly, no. The visitor to work permit option is no longer open. It was closed, is it early this year or late last year? It was closed down because people, of course, were abusing it. So it was closed down. They didn't allow anybody to come to visit again. Do you understand? And now change to work permit. There was now one other option that people now say, okay, we never lost now. It never end. No, we use this one enter now. That was the visitor visa to asylum pathway. I'm giving you the options, so I'm giving you the options. Do you understand? Why am I giving you the options? It's because these are all the things people have been saying. It's not something new. It's not something new. Do you understand? A lot of people have been doing it. They did not work for a lot of people down, I cannot say. You understand? But visitor visa, some people say, okay, let me first enter through visits first now. Let me once I enter, I'll be figuring it out. I'll be figuring it out. When they now come for airports, they go carry us okay. Say, okay, oh, I want to seek asylum now. Yes. That one, some people they did it ojelo. Some people they do it na deportation. Especially once they have already saw they have done their asylum, they saw that their story. Because some people don't understand the reason for asylum. Some people just think anybody can do asylum. They think it's like the shortcut. Visitor visa is possible for you to come into Canada legally, for you to stay in Canada, to tour Canada, to visit your family and friends legally. You understand? Asylum too is a legal route, so it's not an illegal route, it's a legal route. But if your asylum claim is denied, and assuming you did not do appeal, you will be deported back to your home country. If you do appeal and it still got denied, you still be deported to your home country. If you get approved ojelo, you become permanent resident under the protected persons rights. Do you understand? You become permanent resident. Now, me, I knew that I didn't want to come into Canada and visit. I didn't want to come into Canada and risk being deported. I knew myself that time. I don't know other people. I know myself that me where I don't japa. They go now talk say you where don't japa, they not deport you. How come? I didn't want that for myself. I don't know about you, but for me, I didn't want that for myself. Do you understand what I'm trying to say? I've given you four options. Oh. With all these things we are saying now, let me recap what I'm saying. How can you come into Canada without job offer, do you understand, or job invitation, and you'll be doing it here? One, study permit. come through school, get an admission, go through school, and after school you'll be working, or before during school you'll be working. Number two is to come through what? Is to come through the work permit if you can get job from outside Canada through work permit. And number three is visitor visa. Visitor visa linked to what? Work permit, which has even closed now, or visitor visa linked to asylum, which is the fourth one. Okay, Mr. Ifeanyi is now asking. Thank you very much. I like your questions. How did you do yours? Very good question, sir. In fact, it's a brilliant question again. How did you do yours? The way me I did mine, oh, and not only me, because me, I wanted to come with someone. I came with my lovely, wonderful, beautiful common law partner. I didn't want to come alone. I said, with all the stress, I go with person where I know now, we be say we go dey Ghana dey manage life together. You understand? So I came with my common law partner. I came with my what? My significant other. Mhm. But it was not easy, because I always tell people, some people say e no easy, e no easy, e no easy. You sha dey there. Yes, we don dey there. Alhamdulillah, thank God. But there was something I came through that that thing show me pepper. Oh. But again, before I say what I came through, it was not illegal route. Because again, we have been hearing some people. I have to be frank with you. I have to tell you all the routes. You know, we are talking about 4 routes. Let me tell you the 5th route before I tell you my own route. The 5th route that people are coming through now is we go gather go farm. Oh. Man, enter plane, go Brazil first. Or enter plane, go Cuba first. Because there are some countries like that with Nigeria passport safe. You don't need visa. You can go visa free, or you can say visa on arrival. You can get visa on arrival, or even if they even have to ask you visa, maybe like electronic visa, easy visa. Some people are leaving Nigeria. Some people are leaving West Africa. Not them even, because of course we have been seeing their videos online. Some people are leaving West Africa, Southern Africa. Some people are leaving Eastern Africa, Central Africa. They are going to Cameroon. You understand? Entering Nigeria, going through Benin. Some people, some that are, you understand, being creative. If you don't ever have money for tickets, some people are being creative. You understand? They are legging it. So you can leg it. Because I'm being frank with you. Some people are legging it. There's one route now that they say, that route, a lot of people are going through it. You understand? You go through those Western routes. You enter plane for those that can afford plane. Some people that cannot afford plane, they are legging it. You understand? They will leg it across West Africa. But no matter when they get to sea now, of course, some people fit enter Mediterranean Sea. Some people at the end of the day, they have no choice. Go through here, go through one country where we say their wahala no much. For Southern America or South America. And from South America, some people go enter all this narco region, the jungle. Wetin be the name of that jungle, baby? The jungle where they follow the Darien Gap. That reminds me, Darien Gap. They leg am. Some people are getting unalived through that route. It's even what I'm using to laugh. It's not funny. Some people are unaliving themselves by going through that route, because of course it is also a route to come, because we have seen people that have come to this province, Quebec, the province of Quebec, Canada, through that route where they pass. Some people are not going alone. So me, I say I'm coming with my partner. Some people are going with their children through that gap, the Darien Gap, a jungle, the Legam. Some people are going through Agadez, Niger. Okay, forget that one. That one na Europe. Na people wey dey go Europe. You understand? The one wey dey follow na Darien Gap. They dey go through Mexico. Some of them, they will be kidnapped on the way. Their family, they will send them Aza. Kidnapper go send Aza to family. So yeah, if you want make we release them, pay money. They will pay money again. Before again, they go move. So why am I saying all this? Is to show you the legal route and the illegal route, and to not make you choose. Because Whether we like it or not, people will choose what they can afford, and they will choose what they are okay with. Do you understand? They will choose what they are okay with. We cannot force anybody to do anything that they are not willing to do. Do you understand? People they go through Darien Gap, they go through Mexico, they go through US before they land Canada. And from Canada, they will not seek asylum. There's one woman's story we watch on YouTube. And at the end of the day, funny enough, she's now in Quebec. She's now a legal person, even after going through illegal route. You understand? She's not, but some people become legal, seeking asylum and getting granted. Some people become illegal because we have seen people, story of Pakistanis, you understand, Afghanistanis, after Afghanistan or Afghan, I what they call them, that they will send back from US, they deport them back, go back their house after spending time, spending months. Some people have lost their loved ones, their husbands, their wives, their children. Some people even they take pets. Oh boy. Okay, if I say only legal, thank you very much. That's why see how we are building our case, because this is a matter of case by case basis. You understand? Your case is different from other people. My own case may be different from your own. Do you understand? But let's know what people are facing to actually get to these countries. And that is why immigrants, it's not easy for immigrants to leave their country to say they are going from one place to another. In fact, one of the people that I know that people are meant to really be giving kudos to. They're meant to be like kind of sport that the most immigrants that can face a lot, and they'll be giving them big money. It's not a small thing. No. Let's even forget him. It's not a small thing. They are meant to actually be. Yeah, my laptop wants to die. I'm coming. Let me just quickly charge. We are going to talk about the only legal way that Mr. Ifeanyi talked about or asked about that I want to discuss. The only legal way, we have talked about study. Study is a legal way, but it's expensive. Abi? Number one. That's number one. Number two, job, getting a work permit. It is also a legal way, but it is ultra expensive for those that are paying for it, or it is demoralizing for those that want to go through the legal way but are not able to get job offers fast, like me. Because me too, I wanted to get work permit. Thank you very much, Ifeanyi, for liking. I wanted to get work permit, but I couldn't get it because there was a bridge that I have to cross. And the bridge was get a job offer first from a Canadian employer. If you can't get a job offer first from a Canadian employer, you can't get work permit. And I wanted to go through a legal route. I didn't want to go through a legal route. That's why I didn't go through Darien Gap, through jungle, through, you understand, Mediterranean Sea. The last and final path that I took, that I do always, like basically our channel, A.O.S Abroad, is basically talking about this route. Anytime you see me online talking, this is the single thing I do talk about. Everything we do in our organization revolve around this thing. Because I've seen that even people that have been here, let's now be very, very particular about what I'm saying now. People that have been here for years, I have been saddened with seeing people that have been here 3 years, 5 years, 7 years, and they now say they have to deport them back. And people, they mad me because the thing they always vex me. They always vex me. This one have been here 7 years. When I now say you want to deport them, what's happen? If they didn't commit an outrageous crime, you understand? The other thing is their status, their immigration status is not valid. And that's how come it's not valid? Person don't be here 7 years, you talk say it's not valid. How come? Because the status is not statusing. The immigration is not immigration in him. It's the truth. But at the end of the day, when we now see them on TV, or we see them, we now get to realize that what they came into the country with, the status they came into the country with. Some people, you hear them, they came into visit. They did not leave the country when they are meant to leave the country. As a result of that, they became illegal immigrants. And now when the government now know them, the government has not given them deportation order. Some people they sought asylum. Their asylum claim was denied. Even appeal, they go court 2-3 times, denial. At the end of the day, they still have to deport them. I didn't want to go through all those stress. Do you understand? I didn't want a situation that I go down there, Canada, God forbid. I don't even wish my enemies. I don't wish my enemies that thing because it's a bad thing. Now see finish. You understand? Now see finish. I didn't want see finish in my own case. I don't dey even if people wey dey japa they are japa even if I want to japa I will japa on my own volition to okay I want to decide to japa. No be say they now force me say okay comot for my country. You understand that kind of thing. So because of that I didn't want to go through those routes. So the last route to finish it, the last route that you can use to come and not just even be like work permit holder that you just be able to work for one employer at the time. The last route that will allow you to work for 2-3, no matter if you even want to work for 5 companies, if you get the manpower, you go work. E be like say una no dey hear shift wey people dey do shift. Some people dey do shift wey be say they go for morning, afternoon na another job, evening na another job. In fact, some people dey do midnight shift. It's because they have the status. If you have the status, you can combine 2-3 jobs. Shebi na you wan do caregiver, e go tire you. You go do caregiver for morning, for afternoon you go do evening, and they are paying good money. Oh, it's not even shey thing. They are paying good money. You will earn good money. Do you understand? So if you want to have the opportunity that you'll be able to work for 2-3-4, no matter employer where you won't work, you vex today, you say this one is not paying me much. You get another job offer, you go and work in another company where they pay much. Because healthcare is a hot cake. You don't understand. There are not enough people. There are not enough people doing caregiving. So you now say you want to come, you will be like superstar. You understand what I'm saying? You'll be like superstar. But if you are coming the wrong way, that is the thing. If you are coming the wrong way and you are doing that caregiving, you'll be exploited. You will not have rights. You will have problems. Do you understand? But if you are doing it the right way, now you go they do like boss. You'll be earning your money. Some people are build house in Nigeria with caregiving. Yes, there are build house in Nigeria with caregiving. If you there was a any to more way, no more way. You don't understand? Any to more way, person wey know the road, person wey know the way, na him know book. Canada no be like country wey be say Nigeria, abi some other country wey be say you gats dey know book. If na caregiving you go know it, you go use am build house, you go use am become good person. So the last way I did that allowed me to not only work for myself, if I liked, I could work for the government of Canada, because with my status in Canada, I have the liberty to work for the government of Canada. I can work for public organizations. Do you understand? I can work for private firms. I can work for non-profit organizations. And the one me I choose, I can also set up my own business and be doing my own business. Some other people, they don't bond them well. You understand? Because of the status. My own was, let me come to this country and build something for myself. Something that is not only me that will benefit, that even my children that I'm giving birth to would also benefit from it. And that takes us to the last thing, which is what we know as the pathway that gives you full right, except the right to vote. This pathway is the pathway that gives you full right, just like the Canadian citizen. Only thing that differentiates you from the Canadian citizen is that you cannot vote for who will become the president of the country, and it don't concern me. I mean, it concern you. To be voting for prime minister no concern me. They know they collect money for there. And anything that is not making money For me, it's not making sense. I mean, did I say for you, is it making sense? Even for Nigeria, I vote. Let's be frank. Nigeria sef I vote. Wetin concern me with voting na money dem dey share there. You understand? And I know I will not sell my vote because at the end of the day, I know that at the end of the day, whether I vote or not, what will happen will happen. Que sera sera, like the French will say. Que sera sera. What will be will be. So whether I do it or not, it will happen. You understand? So the pathway I wanted to come through was the pathway that will give me that confidence that okay, if I'm in this country, now if I wan comot, I go comot. And I did it last year. I wanted to leave the country. I said, Canada don't tire me now. May I go do tourism? You understand? I left. I went to the Middle East. All those oil-rich countries. You understand? No, my partner, we went to the Middle East. We go enjoy ourselves there. Spend like 3 weeks. You say, okay, wetin dey happen again? Maybe I say Middle East don't tire me. May I come back, come Canada? We come to Canada. If you don't have that status, you understand? If you even come, if you even go out, if people say, we have read stories now of students, international students that left the country. They went to go and do something at home. When they were coming back into the country, the officer did not allow them to come in again. He said, sure. I never finished my school now. He said, why you leave the country when school day on session? So it shows that you are not really studying. Problem. You see, problem. Because of that, they deported that sister. We heard the story. One of my friends was saying it when we first landed that time. They deported the sister because her program was in session, and as she left Canada, and she, of course, things can happen, but may Canada not happen to us. They talk say may Nigeria not happen to you. Canada say may not happen to you. If it happen to you, you don't go with that too. So that pathway that I did, that my common law partner did, that benefited my own child when she finally she was given birth to, was the path known as the permanent resident path. The permanent resident pathway. If you look at the name, even the name itself, it hold weight. The name of the pathway itself hold weight. That was why when they were telling me that pathway in Nigeria, myself, when I heard the name, I just knew that this was my pathway. You understand? If I say finally, you don't finally land. Yeah, so my brother, most times I do always like to tell people some of these stories so that some people understand the reason why some people want to die there. They say, is this permanent resident pathway I will go through? Because that was me in Nigeria. You take time. Yes, you take time. I will take time because, see, sometimes when I see people suffer in this country, suffering don't mean say you don't get money. Suffering does not mean, a kind of suffering where you don't suffer. Where I suffer for Nigeria, where I know say that because I don't get money, I suffer. It's because I don't know person I suffer. But in countries like Canada, in countries like other places that you may know as well, you may not suffer because you lack money. You may suffer because you lack status. Okay, if I am saying that is what Newfoundland is giving. Good. That is what Newfoundland is giving. Good question. Good comment. But now ask yourself, because Newfoundland, I know the province as well, they are giving PR to those who qualify for the PR. Do you understand? And many of the caregiver routes that are available, you have to get a job from outside Canada. Do you understand? Jobs are available. If you go on Newfoundland website, jobs, you see a list of their jobs, a list of the companies, or the list of the links where you can get jobs. But many times, if they don't say you require LMIE, you need an endorsement from the community. You understand? Or you need something related to, okay, so you are saying, yes, one lady got the job. Great, good. One lady, that's why I said a lot of people are getting the job. I'm not saying people are not getting the job. People are getting, and see, Okay, we are training people based on one of our other friends that got a job similar before he even landed in Canada. He has gotten a job. He was even my cousin, and he talked about how he actually had to struggle for the job. Do you understand? Okay, if I'm saying what I want to know is that would they pay for my flight? brother, brother, who will pay for your flight? The job, the company. I cannot answer that for the company, truthfully. And that's why I was giving you the instance between visa sponsorship and other pathways. If they want to sponsor your visa, they may pay for your flight. There's partial sponsorship, there's full sponsorship. Do you understand? If you come on an agreement, many of the jobs have different agreements with the employees. Do you understand? Not not two no two jobs are the same. You understand? No two jobs are the same. So if you there are different caregiving homes. Okay, let me put it that way. Different caregiving homes with different packages they actually provide. So if you want a job offer that gives you flight tickets, that basically sponsors you, when you are applying, especially on Canada Job Bank, for instance, you will see one place that will say, okay, this particular employer gives sponsorship, or this particular employer is looking for temporary foreign workers. Because of course, that's many of the jobs that so you can actually specify that you want the one that will give you sponsorship or the one that would cater for your flight. If you get fine. If not, you'll see another one. Do you understand? That actually has that. So basically that is it. The question now is how do you go about actually working on, you understand, this pathway. Even the Newfoundland and Labrador you are saying, when it comes to caregiving, is part of the what they call it now, priority occupations that they are looking for, just like every other province. In fact, I will tell you for free, it's not only Newfoundland and Labrador that is looking for caregiver. Caregiver is everywhere. Anywhere you are coming into Canada, they give you caregiver. Do you understand? Or they require caregiver. But what I'm saying in essence is if you want to come into Canada and you want to become a permanent resident, in line with you being qualified for what? For the job, you also need to actually get some things because many of those, if it's permanent residence, you need to follow the pathways. The pathways, you need to get your credentials assessed, you need to show your experience, you need to show your educational credentials, you need to actually write an exam, a language test exam, whether it be for English or for French. And that is where many people always go from. So if you are not running from it, you can as well actually pursue it. And how do you pursue it? Go on the Newfoundland and Labrador website yourself. Check the requirements. If you have checked it, good. And based on what I'm saying, caregivers are needed. Do you understand? As I've said, not only in Newfoundland and Labrador, but in Newfoundland and Labrador, that is a province that is in the northern part, is in the northern hemisphere. So many people don't want to go to that province. So it might be easier for you to get a job there than getting a job in provinces like Ontario or Quebec. Do you understand? But the only thing is, okay, you are saying please list them again. I should list them again as well. What do you mean by list them? Okay, do you mean the pathways people can use to become a caregiver or the pathways people can use to come into Canada? Is that what you're saying I should list again? If that is it, I talked about it. Oh, okay, the requirements. The requirements are four in number. At least the basic, there are other requirements, but the basic requirement is number one, you need to get your academic credentials evaluated. Do you understand? Whether be it bachelor's, master's, PhD, OND, HND, NC, any of the DDD, have it evaluated. Evaluated by A.O.S or ISA, ICAS or ISES, any of the organizations. Once you just put academic evaluation Canada, you understand, for immigration, you will see it on Google. Number two, you have to get your language assessed, your language proficiency assessed, whether be it for English or for French. Do you understand? So if you can speak English, you write exams like maybe I.O.S, like CELPIP or PTE core exam. If it is for French, you write either TEF Canada or TCF Canada, and that is where we come in. We have trainings that we take people through, you understand, to help them prepare for these language exams. Do you understand? So if you want us to prepare you for any of the IELTS, for the CLP, for the PT, for you to make the results at once, or for the French exam, the TEF Canada or TCF Canada, for those that want to actually learn French, for those that want to have that added advantage, because I do tell people that's one of the things I wanted to say when I was talking about PR. Many people will not become PR not because they don't have what they can use to qualify. It's because the skill they have is not yet enough. Do you understand? I didn't have masters when I was coming to Canada, so many people don't even need a masters. Some people say me I have bachelor, some people may just have NC, OND, and they went to Canada as a PR. Why? Because they have skills that Canada wants, that someone that have PhD they don't have. Some people wonder how come. And yes, it's possible. Some people just study, get all these so-called paper certificates. You understand? But they are not gaining skills. You understand? They are not gaining experience. So if you have OND, HND, evaluate it. Your skill can be your language. That's where I'm getting into. Your skill can be your language proficiency. If you are a French speaker, you're not hot cake, you're hotter cake. You're hotter cake in the current Canadian immigration setting. Do you understand? You are hotter cake that, see, make person get PhD, make you have OND and you have French. You sure me you can enter country before that person will get PhD. You understand? Because it is not about documents, it's not about credential alone. It's about the skills you can provide. And language proficiency is a huge skill in Canada now that they are currently looking for. So educational credential assessment, language proficiency with the test results, whether English results or French results. Also, you will have the work experience. Again, many people have diverse work experience, and that's a plus to many of us that are Nigerians. Because when I wanted to come into Canada and I was saying, okay, I was a language teacher, and they did not pick me as a language teacher after like 6 months, how many months of applying? More. That's why I dumped the experience. I use my tech experience. You understand? So you that you are in a caregiving now, you have a very good experience. Healthcare is in demand. Now have a skill that aligns with healthcare, because healthcare professionals, caregivers, the money you earn speaking English, you can earn $20, assuming. But the money you may earn as a French speaker, in other words, a bilingual, you may earn $26, $30 per hour, more than someone that is work. You both are doing the same hours of shift, though. You are doing the same hours of shift, but one person is making more money than you. Why? Because that person has a skill that is that is in demand in Canada. That's how people level up. So if you want to level up, we as well at A.O.S abroad, we train people for French exams. We also we help people study for French exams, so that the mistake I made writing French exam 3 times before I pass, you will not make it. You will make it once and for all. And many of these provinces, Newfoundland and Labrador, you don't need to become Patrick Obiagbo style with French. You don't need to be Wale level with French. You just need to know the basics. Do you understand? Basics. In some programs just do intermediate level and you are good to go. And you actually, in fact, those are one of the things they used to select some people, give them jobs, and other people just waiting without job offer. You understand? Because they have skills that are in demand that they are currently looking for in Canada. Do you get what I'm trying to say? So, lastly, the requirements, your academic credentials, it has to be evaluated. Your language proficiency test results, whether be it English results or French results. Your work experience. Do you understand? Your work experience has to also show how many years of experience do you have, or months. Sometimes it's even months of experience they need. Is it 1 month? Is it 6 months rather, not 1 month? 6 months or 1 year experience, or is it even more than years? Is it years of experience, decades of experience? That's what will actually help you. There are still some other requirements too. You understand? Like, okay, do you have someone in Canada, maybe like someone in Newfoundland and Labrador that can be your family friend, your family member? Do you understand? Or have you studied in Newfoundland and Labrador before? It's not every time they ask for some of those requirements. So that's why we didn't put it as the major requirement. The major was the four I mentioned, But all these other ones too, if you have a job experience in Canada, especially in Newfoundland and Labrador, or you have a study in Canada in Newfoundland and Labrador, or you have a family member in Newfoundland and Labrador, that could also help you for all other ones, all other types of streams. Okay, now let's move on. We were talking about the immigration levels plan for the year 2026 to 2020 what? 2028. Hey, my phone wants to low. Hey, my phone is getting low. I'm coming. We are going to continue in a GV. I want to get my phone charger now. I got my laptop charger at that time. I want to get my phone charger. Someone is asking, okay, fine. Academic credentials evaluated by WES. Yes, by WES or any other one too. Language proficiency results, correct. Number three, yeah, language proficiency results is the one that is divided into two. Whether the English language proficiency results like I.O.S, like CELPIP or PTE, and the French, whether the TEF Canada or TCF Canada, those are the ones that are kind of divided into two. You understand? Language proficiency for English and language proficiency for French. It's not compulsory to have the two. You understand? So people will ask you the follow-up question. It's not compulsory to have the two. If you have just one, you understand? And if the company you are coming to is not a company that requires you to be bilingual, that could work. Do you understand? If it is just one, which is English proficiency that you have, English proficiency result, maybe an IELTS or CELPIP or PT, that may be fine for you. Do you understand? Work experience, yes, work experience, that language proficiency, language proficiency, many people have it. That number 4, you can call it like skills. Skills. You understand? Which skill do you have? Do you understand? Because, work experience, many people think to get a job, okay, let me just put it this way. To get a job in Canada, you have to have what other people are not, or what other people don't have, or what people have that they don't know how to present. Because that's another two things. It's two things. You understand? Sometimes people don't know how to present using Canadian styled resume, for instance. You may not have much, but do you know how to write Canadian styled resume? That's another issue. But you may see someone that have the same work experience like you, but lack the you understand the knowledge of how to present. I remember when I was first looking for a job when I was in Nigeria, that was one of the biggest problems I had. You understand? When I even started now fine-tuning my CV, fine-tuning my cover letter and things like that, that was when I was seeing people that would say, come into Canada first, and we'll give you a job later. Just, some people will not even tell you. Like one guy like this that was telling me his CV was not even good. It was someone that he paid to actually help with his CV. You understand? He did his Canadian standard resume, and with that, he was able to actually get some things. So those things would determine. Let me get my charger. I'm trying to plug my phone. I don't want it to die whilst we're having this conversation. My people, I left for a little while. Back with my charger. Let me plug it and continue this conversation. Okay, so that being said, don't mind me, my people. My blood don't short. So I just more some small something. Oh boy, easy. All right, thank you for the likes. So, okay, Fine is asking, what about volunteer opportunities? You know something? The beauty of what I've found out abroad and even internationally is those that ask questions. are those that get responses. It may look like this is something people should know. You understand? But the funny thing is, people don't know it and they fail to know it. Do you understand? Last week up to this week, we employed some volunteer. I won't call them volunteers because they are not even volunteers. We employed some freelancers. We understand in our own organization. Someone from France, someone from the US, someone from Nigeria, someone from Ghana. Like it's also because they ask questions, because they didn't just wait that okay, I want to come to Canada. Okay, people are looking for a job that will give them sponsorship. And they were just focused on okay, sponsorship is what I want. But some people that asked the right questions, that followed us and saw that okay, these people are recruiting. And actually, there's one particular online course. Okay, I wrote one book. Let me first start with that. I wrote one book which is titled Funding Your Move Abroad. Do you understand? And that book basically educates people how I myself did it. When I was coming to Canada, when I didn't have money to come into Canada, and I wanted to source for money, the simple thing I did was talk to those that have succeeded in migrating. I say, how that they do, and some people say, okay, I do school. Some people say, okay, I don't have money like you too that time. And this is what I did do. And I combined all those things together. And I was now making money from immigrants that were traveling. Do you understand? And from the money I was able to make from those immigrants, I now use those same money to actually work on my own immigration. Do you understand what I'm trying to say? It's just as simple as that. At the point, we had to do an online course where we are now educating people about how you too can actually make money first and now use the money that you make to now work on your own immigration yourself, so that you don't rely on any company, you don't rely on any business, you don't rely on anybody to say, okay, it's my brother, I want to help him to come to Canada before. All those goddamn it. You understand? You don't rely on anybody. And that was when I started. That was the result of me asking good questions. See what the question Fanny is asking. Brilliant question. What about volunteer opportunities? There are a lot of volunteer opportunities. In fact, uncountable, uncountable volunteer opportunities that if you walk up to a company, is one of the strategies I actually wrote in my book, funny enough. And that was what made me remember my book. Because if you don't ask the right questions, you won't get the responses that would finally change your life. Do you understand? I asked the right questions. That was how I was able to know that, there were some opportunities like volunteerism that I could do in Canada. Even though later on I didn't do some volunteerism, I went to freelancing. It was freelancing I did. And I made money from those that were in Canada, made money from those that were in the US, in the UK that time. And those that were still even in Nigeria that wanted to go to these countries, I made money from them to use to fund my own travel. Do you understand? So when it comes to volunteer opportunities, you can just browse it. Newfoundland and Labrador volunteer opportunities, you will see them. You understand? Volunteering opportunities in Newfoundland and Labrador for immigrants. You see, this is Google is your friend. In fact, now ChatGPT is your friend. ChatGPT is your what? Is your colleague. How well are you making use of ChatGPT? Put it there. Volunteering opportunities for immigrants or intending immigrants wanting to relocate to what? Newfoundland and the province of Newfoundland and Labrador in Canada. You will see it now, my people. You will see it. If you ask the right questions, you will get the right responses to help you. So, it's like sweet. Thank you, Daddy. You see there, my blood has shot. Don't mind me. But I don't wash my hand. My hand will not be dirty like this. Let me wash my hand first. I'm coming, my people. So, when we're having live sessions like this, we have to keep the body and soul in check so that we ensure that Uh-huh. So where was that? Mm-hmm. Okay, thank you. AI has even told me, see, I was talking about ChatGPT, and even AI on TikTok has reminded me what I was saying. You understand? So, what was I saying? I was talking about migration levels plan for Canada 2026 to 2028, and I was discussing the requirements like credentials and work experience. Okay, yeah, I fuck up there. It was ChatGPT. I remember it was ChatGPT that I was saying. The one where they tell me another thing differently. Now, volunteerisms. If you come to or if you talk to a company that you want to volunteer in their organization, you don't know what volunteering is. It's about you gaining experience without you disturbing the company for remuneration. And which company would not like to actually get someone to work for them without paying them initially? Many companies will want it. Do you understand? So if you are someone that is thinking deeply, someone that is willing to serve before you are going to benefit from things, you can ask for volunteerisms. Put it online. A lot of volunteerisms that are available. World Health Organization self have volunteerisms. Do you understand? They have volunteer. They have once you qualify, and you don't need to say okay, it's just one you apply to. You can apply to tens of volunteerisms. Anyone that comes out successful, you work with them. Do you understand? For instance, I talked about freelancers that we are employing in our own organization. We're employing them based on a performance-based role. We can still call it a little bit volunteerism, but they will get paid as well if they are able to meet some certain targets, right? And with that, they earn international experience without still leaving their what? Without still leaving their country. How are you making use of some of these benefits? Do you understand? Though you have to now note that many of the companies or many of the provinces, they would always recognize a work experience you do and you got paid for. I think that was why that time too I was focusing on freelancing roles. You understand that they will give me money. You understand? They will give me money. And funny enough, that time I didn't even only get freelancing role. I got a full-time job after doing certain freelancing roles. Full-time job, you understand, and I was working for even a Nigerian company that was, you understand, in Nigeria that time. So what am I saying in essence? What I'm saying in essence is you can get volunteerisms, you can get freelancing roles to earn money. So that all this money that someone will not say, a company will not say, oh, I do not have money for tickets for you. So because of that, you now lose that opportunity of work offer. You can get the job offer, work on your own flight ticket yourself. From the work that you are doing, you pay for your own flight ticket yourself so that you don't get to be delayed by the virtue of because they are not doing they are not paying for my flight offer. I'm not going to get it. You go buy bell. You understand? Because job offer itself is good. It's good. So if you now have job offer and it's not flight ticket that is now delaying you, you fit dey wait there for life. You understand? Okay, let's move on. So I hope I've answered all your questions. Now, the discussion we were having before this was the migration levels plan for 2026, and we were discussing factors affecting immigration policies and those that have skills in demand. The immigration policies that we're seeing were explaining the targets of previous years. You understand the previous years like 2024, 2025, 2023. You understand, which were including the economic immigration, the family reunification, and refugee and humanitarian immigration. Right now, express entry is the first program. I was talking about permanent residency, the pathway I came into. And many people don't really understand the concept of permanent residency. And that's why we are always coming here to explain to people what do you really need to know about permanent residency. Express entry is the number one program that a lot of people know about. There are still other programs like the one Mr. Ifeanyi talked about, Newfoundland and Labrador program. Their program is either going to be under the PMP, which is the Provincial Nominee Program, or it may be under the Atlantic Immigration Program, the AIP program. And many people don't even know. Maybe that will be a discussion for another day. But many people don't even know that many of these programs, apart from provincial nominee programs, which is quite similar to express entry, if you are getting selected through the Atlantic Immigration Program right now, it's a good program. I'm not saying it's not a good program, but when we look at the processing times of many of the programs, especially new northern programs, we'll see that many of them now have more delays. They have more. Okay, let's look at Atlantic Immigration Program. For those that have not even applied for the Atlantic Immigration Program, you understand? If you have not even applied for the Atlantic Immigration Program and you want to come into it, will take you 37 months. That is more than 3 years to get your application seen because you have not even applied, you have not even started the process. Do you understand? The provincial nominee program is only the one that is linked to express entry, mind you. If it is linked to express entry and you have not yet applied, you are still working on it, it will take you 7 months. Very short timing. But express entry itself, especially the federal skilled worker program, if of course you have not applied as well, as of today, it will take you 6 months. And that's the first program we're talking about here today. Express entry program will take you 6 months to actually get to work on the processing if you have all the credentials, of course, that you need. Now, they now stated on the article that we're reading that although last year's immigration levels plan, the levels plan for 2024, reduced the top level immigration targets for permanent resident admissions across all programs by 20%. The landing target for economic immigrations through the express entry system actually increased. Now, this is very, very golden. This is very, very golden. I do always tell people Canada has been drastically reducing study permit holders. They have been reducing work permit holders. They have even been reducing visitors systematically. And of course, the asylum seekers are being reduced. But one program out of all other programs that have been seeing an increase in the people that they have been selecting is still the express entry, the flagship program for permanent residency. I didn't even later on get selected through express entry when I was coming into Canada. I got selected through provincial nominee program, PNP. The province that selected me was Ontario under the Ontario Immigrant Nominee Program, right? But express entry, so far express entry is being increased, provincial nominee programs too will continue. You understand? So they said last year's immigration levels plan, it introduced the categories federal economic priorities and in Canada focus in place of what was previously called federal high skilled FHS, the allotment for admissions through the express entry system. Now, many people don't understand that jargons. But what they're just trying to say, in essence, is that it was last year they introduced what we know as the what? As the federal economic priorities. What were the priorities? The categories. So, like, we didn't have all these things when we were coming. Or let's say it was available, but they didn't spell it out like this. They didn't spell the categories out like this. Canada has literally spoon-fed people now. Before they were not spoon-feeding immigrants. Now they have spoon-fed you to tell you that these are the categories they are selecting. Oh. So even if you are not in the category, how can you strategize yourself to make sure that yes, so you work on being eligible for a particular category? What was the first category that Canada actually focused on? The first category they focused on was what? Was the French speaking skilled worker program or the French speaking proficiency. So those people that have that skill, that's what I was talking to Ifeanyi the other time. That I said skills. Skills will take you places in Canada where PhD cannot take you. So people will thinking maybe I'm beefing PhD. I'm not beefing PhD. I'm just stating the fact. Skills, especially language proficiency skill, it will take you places where PhD is not taking you. Do you understand what I'm saying? For the year 2025, combining federal economic priorities, 41,700, and in Canada focus 82,980. They yielded a target of 124,680, up from 117,500 for FHS from the previous year's plan. Now, what are we saying in essence? What we are saying in essence is that even though Canada was reducing the amount of students that were coming in, the amount of workers that were coming in, the amount of visitors that were coming in, the pathway that wasn't reduced was the permanent residency pathway known as what? The express entry. Do you understand what I'm saying? So for express entry applicants, they have been selecting people, they will be selecting people, they will keep on selecting people, people will still keep on retire. You understand? Now, in essence, federal economic priorities includes in-demand occupations. What are the in-demand occupations? Just like for Ifeanyi, healthcare, education, STEM occupations, science, technology, engineering, and mathematics, trades occupation, before there was even transport occupation. Do you understand? Those were the in-demand occupations for category-based jobs, as well as the French language proficiency, which was the Baban barrier, which was the number one category that they were selecting. While if you are not in Canada, you don't even need to focus on this one that I want to say, because they said while in Canada, focus refers to permanent residency admissions of foreign nationals already in Canada with valid temporary residency status. So if you have a study permit or if you have a work permit, those are the people that they are talking about, those that are in Canada. But if you are not in Canada presently, if you are not someone that has already been in Canada for 1 or 2 years or 3 years, and you just want to come to Canada in a year, in fact, you want to come to Canada, if not possible this year, again next year, early next year, the best bet that you can use to come, regardless of your occupation, forget your occupation, regardless of occupation, be mechanic sef, regardless of your occupation, if you have French language proficiency skill, they will first pick you first before they pick anybody that have PhD. There's a reason why I'm saying PhD, because that's like the top most that you can have, abi, in academia. Abi, it's the top most now. Except you want to go and be Wole Soyinka, you want to be Nobel laureate. It's the top most. So the topmost even cannot guarantee permanent residency if you don't have some skills that Canada are currently looking for. That's what I'm trying to paint to you. And some people that don't have those topmost results are still getting selected, because people think that you have to amass so many points. Yes, points are also involved, but there are some things that gives you more points, gives you more credibility, gives you more, you understand, than all other things people are focusing on, right? So Express Entry was the first program that increased as other programs were decreasing in applications and those that they were actually inviting. Do you know the follow-up program that also increased? Hmm? Do you know the follow-up program? The follow-up program that increased was provincial nominee program, because they said last year's immigration level plans saw a significant shift in Canada's recent immigration strategy regarding provincial nominee program PNP targets. Oh, sorry, I made a mistake. It did not increase, it reduced. I made a mistake. They said the plan cut federal admission target for the PNP by half as compared to the year prior, reducing admissions to just 55,000 per year in 2025, 2026, and 2027, down from a target of 110,000 for 2024. And that's why a lot of PMPs were not being invited as it was being invited before. Now, they said, in keeping with this, the provinces and territories received significant smaller nomination allocations for 2025. And since then, however, many provinces and territories, including British Columbia, Manitoba, Saskatchewan, Newfoundland and Labrador, and New Brunswick, have successfully negotiated increases for their to their PNP nomination allocations for 2025. So even though they reduced, many provinces still asked for increase and they increased significantly for them. But they said, moreover, on October 16, Immigration Minister Lena Diab met with our provincial and territorial counterparts to discuss allocating extra spaces to their PMPs. So they are still trying to increase, give more spaces to PMPs. Now they said if the federal government of Canada were to continue along the same path we have seen throughout 2025, we would expect 2026 to see an increase in their PMP landings target from last year's target of 55,000. Now, understand something. What they are trying to tell us is even though they reduced drastically last year, we may see some increase next year for PMPs. And this is the time for many of you that still want to come into Canada but may not be qualified for express entry to look into the express entry, just like I did when I was trying to work on my own immigration. I looked into the express entry. The scores they were picking were too high for me. So I had to work on PMPs. Some of you may work on express entry regardless because of category-based jobs, especially if you learn French, just like I've been saying. And if you don't want to, you can also look into PMPs, especially like someone like Mr. Ifeanyi that is already looking at Newfoundland and Labrador. You can also look at provinces like that to actually use to get your own invitation for permanent residency. Now we have talked about permanent residency. If you look at permanent residency, they really always talk about two major programs, which is the express entry and PMPs. There are still other programs for permanent residency, but the major programs, and because me, I like to focus on something that is well known, not something that tomorrow now they can come and they will now come to one change and everything will about the system. You understand? That's why I do always talk about express entry and PMPs very well. There are still other programs people select to, and no problem. I do always tell people if it can work for you, if you know how to work on it, no problem, you can go through that. But me, I like talking about what I know, which is the express entry and the PMPs. Okay. Now, looking into the temporary resident admissions, targets for temporary resident admissions. For those that want to come into Canada as students or want to come in as visitors or temporary foreign workers, what does IRCC have to say? They said IRCC is expected to include temporary residents in the upcoming immigration levels plan. Which levels plan are we talking about? We are talking about levels plan of 2026 down to 2028, right? And he said in its 2025 consultations, which are intended to inform the 2026 to 2028 plan, IRCC stated that it would build on last year's approach and remain guided by its commitment to reduce the number of non-permanent resident population to below 5% of Canada's total population by the end of 2027. Now, what are they saying? They are reducing, even though the overall amount, 5%, is more than the 1% of permanent residents, is more, but they are still going to be reducing, as they said, for the next year and upper. Now, they said last year marked the first time that the immigration levels plan included temporary resident levels. Temporary residents included temporary foreign workers and international students. Do you understand? And international students. Now, in last year's immigration levels plan, targets for international students made up the majority of temporary resident arrivals for 2026 and 2027. while the remainder was allocated to temporary workers under the Temporary Foreign Worker Program and the International Mobility Program (IMP). Now, I'm not going to talk about the numbers because basically what they are just saying is they are reducing every year from 205,000 to 128,000 to 155. They are reducing the quotas every year. Do you understand? Except for temporary foreign workers that remained significant at 82,000 across 2025, 2026, and 2027, right? And students also stayed the same as 305,900, 305,900, and 305,900. Now, what does this mean for the temporary foreign worker program? Basically, what does this mean? It means that the Prime Minister McCartney has telegraphed forthcoming changes to the TFWP, which is the Temporary Foreign Worker Program, but it is unclear what effect any forthcoming changes might have on any annual landings targets under the TFWP previously set at 82,000, right? Now, in an address to the Liberal caucus in Edmonton on September 10, Carney, which is the Prime Minister of Canada, he said that the TFWB, the Temporary Foreign Worker Program, must have a focused approach that targets specific strategic sectors and needs in specific regions. So that means they will not just be giving work permit to any set of people. They will be giving work permits to those that are in some particular sectors, maybe like agri, maybe like, you understand, um, healthcare and the rest, and in some specific regions where they truly need those, whether in some cities like Ontario, I mean Toronto, or in some provinces, you understand, like Quebec. Now, over the past year and a half, the government made significant changes to the what? To the TFWP program, which is the Temporary Foreign Worker Program. The number one change they made is that they established a moratorium on the processing of low wage LMIAs in regions with an unemployment rate of 6% or higher. So, what it just means is that if a particular area, a particular region has so high of an unemployment rate, they won't give temporary foreign worker work permits to people going to that area because they feel that those that are unemployed should get the jobs. You understand? Two, they were raising the wage thresholds for the high wage stream of the temporary foreign worker program. So the money that people were collecting were low and they increased it so that it can actually cater for them more. And lowering the caps for the percentage of an employer's workforce that can be hired through the TFWP, the Temporary Foreign Worker Program. And this is very good because some people be asking that, oh, you didn't employ people. Oh, maybe you are in Canada, you are in this. Even if you have a business in Canada, it's not all companies that can employ foreign workers to actually work in their own companies. I can't employ foreign workers because I'm not authorized to employ foreign workers. You understand? I have not even employed Canadians, talk less of employing foreign workers. Do you understand? Another thing is limiting availability of spousal open work permits, SOWPs, to spouses of temporary foreign worker permit program holders working in tier 0 or 1 occupations and in select in-demand tier 2 and 3 occupations. What do they mean by this? That means even if you have initially before, if you have a work permit, your spouse can come to and get a work permit. You understand? But now they are limiting the amount of work permits they will give to spouses of, you understand, non-temporary resident, now temporary residents that actually have work permits. So that's one thing that they used to change the temporary foreign worker program. Now they said the TFWP has come under fire this year with Conservative Party leader Pierre Poliev, you understand, calling for it to be abolished. So if it is abolished, that means Canada is not going to be bringing people that are going to be working under the work permits program again. If it is abolished, of course. Now, in everything we have said, there is one major thing that I want to focus on, which this article that we are reading today also focused on. And one thing I want to focus on is also the focus on francophone immigration. What did I say? The focus on francophone immigration. Oh boy, don't mind me. This one I'm eating while I'm having live session. Mhm. I can't wait. So, what are we saying in essence in this live session? Everything we have saying, I want to summarize it with this major point. If the federal government of Canada keeps its election promise, because for those that know, there was an election where the new government came into power. If they focus on their election promise, we can expect to see for the year 2028 an increase in landings targeted for francophone immigration. So what that means is that Canada is going to be inviting people that can speak French. Do you understand? If you can speak French, you can converse in French, you basically be a hotter cake. You understand? Because in the 2025 to 2027 immigration levels plan, the federal government of Canada committed to gradually increasing the share of French speaking permanent residents settling outside the province of Quebec, targeting 8.5% in 2025, 9.5% in 2026, and 10% in 2027. So in the year 2028, we expect maybe like 11%, right? Or 12%, or 11.5. You understand? Because in his election campaign, the Prime Minister of Canada, Mark Carney, pledged to boost francophone immigration outside Quebec to 12% by 2029. Now look at that. Target that. Look at that. So what it means is that we can expect 11%, 11% in 2023, 2028. We can expect to see 11% in 2028. Because in 2029, they want 12%, right? A year after. Now, IRCC has also repeatedly stated that francophone immigration is a priority. Do you understand? Francophone immigration is what? Is a priority. Even as overall immigration levels are scaled back, they are still going to be actively inviting francophones. And some people may ask me, does it mean that it's only people that are from Benin Republic, are from Mali, that are from Senegal? No, even if you're a Nigerian, even if you're a Ghanaian, even if you're a South African, even if you are from Belarus, you're Belize, you are from India, you are from where again? China. So far you can speak French, you are going to have the opportunity to get selected and become a permanent resident by virtue of that your French knowledge. Because over the last few years, IRCC has continued to prioritize francophone immigration by introducing French language category-based selection draws, launching the francophone immigration pathways like the francophone community immigration pilot, and also increasing settlement support for francophone immigrations, for francophone immigrants rather. So that shows that they want those that can speak French to come into the country, even more than English speakers. So if you can speak French, that's where we are getting into. You stand a fair chance. And that's where we come in at A.O.S Abroad. We can teach you French, we can prepare you for language exams in French. And see, let me give you the major thing that I solely believe about this. For you to learn French, you will spend less time, you will spend less money. You understand? And trust me, it is even going to be lesser effort for you than you actually paying to get an admission in Canada and doing one program that necessarily, let's be frank with ourselves. You understand? In fact, let's be frank. Let's just be frank. Naturally, you don't want to go to school. You understand? Naturally, frankly, you don't want to. Like 90% of people that come into Canada with school, they don't want to study. They don't want to use that as the pathway to enter Canada. Do you understand? Let's be frank with ourselves. So naturally, you don't even need the program. You don't even want to do the program. Why don't you now do something that is not going to just benefit you for immigration alone, but even whilst you are now even working later on or setting up your business, that French knowledge can now still be useful for you because you'll be able to actually do business to Anglophones and do business to Francophones, just like I'm doing, you understand, in Canada right now. Do you understand? So it will benefit you more than you going to school and spending tens of thousands of dollars. And trust me, you may not even spend up to $1,000 to learn French. You understand? But when it comes to you getting that admission, going to that school, or sometimes even going trying to get jobs, you will spend tens of thousands of dollars from doing it back home. But even from back home, you can learn French with less than $1,000. Do you understand? And actually get something that other people with even PhD do not have. Do you understand what I'm trying to say? So caps, the last thing is going to be caps on international students. It is unclear whether the upcoming plan of 2026 to 2028 immigration levels plan will adjust targets for admissions of international students, because last year's immigration plan, levels plan, it put it in place the following targets for international student arrival. It was 305,900 for 2025 and 305,900 for 2026 and 2027. But we are not sure if they will still leave that number in 305,900 or they would increase or even reduce it further. But to achieve these targets, what they know that about is that the federal government of Canada has instituted an annual cap on student study permit applications, which is enforced by requiring non-exempt students to include what we know as provincial attestation letters (PALs) in their study permit applications. And the cap on study permit applications is updated each year and has typically been announced each January of the year. So the next January as well, we're expecting another update from Canada as regards the study permit. So we come to the end of the article that we are taking on today. If you have any questions as regards the article, please let me know. If you have any questions you would like to know about, drop it on the comment section. If it seems we don't have Ifeanyi on the call again, and we're going to call it a day soon. But don't forget that every week we always come on live to talk about trending topics, news articles, and updates about Canadian immigration. And please, I want you to note something in everything we are talking about today, especially when it comes to the Francophone immigration. Because, of course, this is where we come in and this is where we assist people. And for those that have been taking our classes, we have had those that have actually joined us from Nigeria, from Kenya, from, you understand, different countries taking the French training. So if you want to also join in, if you want to take the French classes with us, you understand, you can actually register for the French classes on our website, aosacademy.com. You understand? When you register for our French classes, we can take you through how to study and how to learn French language, one. Two, how to also prepare for language exams, whether it be the English exam or the French exam, IELTS, CELP, PTE, TEF Canada, or TCF Canada. And as well, we can assist you with any of, you understand, the credentials you want to submit in Canada, whether it be for A.O.S, for EC, for ICAS, and things like that. And we can also link you up with our immigration partners who are going to help you to work on your visa application processing for study permits, for work permits, for permanent residence, for visitor visa, even asylum. You understand, we have lawyer that could also, as an immigration lawyer, that could also assist you with that. So if you have any questions, please drop it on the comment section before we go. You can also click on the link on our bio. You understand? Go on our bio and you'll see our link there. You can click on the link, the travel with A.O.S. You can click on that for learning more about our service offerings and you understand, working with us to actually make sure that you are ready for the Canada Immigration Levels Plan 2026 down to 2028. Because let's be frank, 2025 is ending, right? 2025 is ending, is fast going, and for those who are going to benefit from the next year, you need to get started with planning your what immigration right now. So if you want to actually move successfully next year, you have to start working towards your immigration now. We have some of our students, you understand, that have started taking programs, started taking courses, you understand, with us, and they are preparing for their own French exams to go take it to be able to go to Canada with themselves and their family members by next year. Some are working towards preparing for language English exams, CELPIP, for example, IELTS, for example, so that they can be ready for Canadian immigration, you understand, by next year. So, what are you also doing? Is the question. What are you also doing right now to ensure that next year doesn't just come and go, just like this year? You understand? Because I remember when I was in Nigeria in the year 2018, when I learned, like, of course, I graduated from the University of Illinois in 2016. I went for my youth service call 2017. So I became free from the government's injunctions and my education 2018. And that was when I got started with immigration. But I wasn't serious up until COVID struck. When COVID struck and I have sense that, oh boy, this country is not going anywhere, I had to take a stance and work. And even with that, because of the lockdown, because of the pandemic and everything, 2020 had to go because we couldn't do much. You understand? Because of everything that happened that year. So it was 2021 I got started like really serious with immigration. And from that 2021 to 2022 was when I got approved. You understand? When I got invited by two provinces, not only the province I am now, two provinces, the province of Ontario and the province of Quebec. Those were the two provinces that invited me for permanent residency then, together with my common law partner. And those two provinces, because of course I wanted to stay where things are happening, which is Ontario. I wanted to stay in the major city. I chose Ontario. And ever since then, as they say, the rest is history. We landed in Canada and we've set up our life ever since then. You understand? After moving in the year 2023. So get started with your own processing right now. Get started with gathering your own documentations right now. Get started with making sure you study and you get a skill that will not just be useful for you, you understand, immigrating to Canada or working on your immigration to Canada, but when you finally land, you can use that same skill to earn more than your other counterparts, more than your English speakers, which is the French. You can learn more, you can have more things that will work for you than the other average immigrant. Because people always complain, they don't have job, they don't have this, they don't have that. The truth is, many people have the same things. So what will you have that will define you and delineate you and differentiate you from other people that have more or less the same things? A lot of people don't want to learn French. A lot of people are not willing to do it. But those that are willing, most times I don't see French speakers complain that they don't have job. There's a reason. Because they have a lot of things that they are, you understand? They have a lot of things, a lot of opportunities for them in the country and even outside the country, because some people are even in this country and earning money from outside the country, right? So that being said, don't forget, every time we can always assist you, whether to prepare for language exams, to train you for French exam. Just go on our website, aosacademy.com, or click on the link on our bio to get more information about how we can assist you. And always join us any other time live. You understand? The next time, every week we always come on live at least once every week to actually talk about trending topics and to discuss trending issues. So always make sure to join later on. So like, share, and also subscribe. Don't forget to also hit the notification to get notified anytime we drop a comment. So thank you very much, everyone, and do have a lovely day ahead. Bye for now.